this is my channel, DM's Crafty Vortex. This is my channel where I talk mostly about cross stitch and then whatever other crafts I happen to get up to throughout the week. Today is going to be a little bit different. Normally I film a video where I show all my projects I'm working on and talk about anything I happen to buy. But this one is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be my 2022 WIPGO board update. WIPGO is kind of like a bingo board. And this was the brainchild of Jessie Marie Does Stuff on Flosstube. She also has a Facebook group. I believe she started this just for her own fun, and then more and more people wanted to do it, so she has now released it to all of us. And I've decided to do just a quick video of what's on my WIPGO board and what I hope to work on this year. So again, as I said, it's kind of like a bingo board. And then Jessie will pick two numbers every month so on December 27th, she'll pick the two numbers for January, and you'll go down your board, you'll figure out what's on it, and then you try to accomplish those goals. You have the whole year to work on it, but the goal is kind of to get like a bingo, or maybe most people I think go for a blackout. I did try this last year, and it was a crash and burn. I've gone a little bit more generic this year, so while I do have some specific projects on here, I also have some kind of like random things, which are a little bit more allowing you to choose what you're going to work on. So let's get into it and go with my WIPGO board. So my very first slot right here is pretty easy. It's kind of fun. It just says new start. So if that gets pulled, I get to start something new. My next board, and also going through this, I really don't have a lot of whips. I know there are people out there with 20, 30, 80 whips. That's not me. I have gone through my whips, and I've only been stitching again for a little over a year. I used to stitch when I was a lot younger, but I didn't pick it up again until about a little over a year ago. So I don't actually have enough projects to fill this board. So I have projects in more than one spot, but I might just have slightly different goals for them. My next goal was Bellatrix, and I believe I have Bellatrix on my board twice. Or maybe not. Maybe I only have Bellatrix on my board once. So Bellatrix, I have put 5 hours in on it. Now, if I happen to work on Bellatrix at any point this year before it's called, I will not count that towards my 5 hours. So if I work 5 hours on Bellatrix in January, I will not consider this completed. Different people do their boards different ways. Oh, and I do have Bellatrix on here twice, and both of them are 5 hours. What my hope is that if I put about 5 hours on a project I haven't really touched much, then maybe it'll give me the incentive to keep working on it and get more accomplished on it than sometimes when you put it away, you just tend to forget about it. So my first goal is Bellatrix. Bellatrix is by Bella Filipina. Here is what Bellatrix looks like. And this is where I'm at. I am using the Called for DMCs, and this is Aida that I just dyed myself. It was just a big piece of Aida that I got at, I think, Michael's. So this is on my WIPGO board twice, both to put at least 5 hours in on it. My next box says, Prove Pam Wrong, and that is a new start, which is Seeking Refuge from the Scarlet House. And the reason I have that listed as Prove Pam Wrong is when I was in her shop kitting this up, I got some 40 count linen. She seemed a little skeptical about selling me the 40 count linen, reminding me that it is 40 count linen. So I think she doubts my ability to stitch on 40 count linen. So Prove Pam Wrong is me starting Seeking Refuge and actually attempting and succeeding on 40 count linen. So when that gets called, now if for some reason I can't control myself and I start on this before it's called, then I'll change it to work 5 days on it. It's not my typical taste in patterns, but I really loved what it said. When the world seems to be out of control, I find a way to nurture my soul. Seeking refuge with needle and thread, the angst and anxiety no longer I dread. Isn't that beautiful? The next thing I have is Hawthorne Hollow. So I have a block finish on that. And I think I only have that one in one spot because a block finish is pretty big for a Hawthorne Hollow. And I am doing Halloween at Hawthorne Hollow. So this is what I'm working on. Now, when I say a block finish, I don't mean block 1, I mean block 2. So if that's called, I need to, if I'm still on block 1, I need to finish it and get a block finish on block 2. Because I feel like I'm fairly close to a block finish on block 1, so it just seems like cheating for me on my particular WIPGO board. Everybody does what they want on theirs, but for me, a block finish means block 2. Now, if I have block 2 almost done and this doesn't get called till December, I may rethink it and make it block 3. So that will depend on where I'm at when it gets called. But if I'm just a few stitches away from a block finish, I will probably count it as the next block. And then I have, my next one is Fairy Tales Charted by Hayde, and I have that twice. One of them is 5 hours and the other one is 5 days. I haven't touched this one in quite a while. And this is artwork by Lisa Parker, and I'm doing it on 25 Easy Count Grid Lugana. And here it is. So here's Fairy Tales. And this is where I am at on it right now. So I have a few Haydes I'm working on, and I'm hoping getting this called will allow me to touch it this year and get some stitches in it, because I feel like with Magic Study being touched, it's going to be hard for me to pick up any of my other Haydes, but I do want to work on them. I loved it when I picked it out, so I do want to keep going on it. And this way I know that I will touch it at least twice this year. And then I also have another full coverage, not a Hayde, but it's a full coverage on here twice. 5 hours and I have 5 days on this one as well. This one, I believe, is on a potentially 18 count easy grid fabric. This I started quite a while ago. It's not even in Pattern Keeper, and it's stated as golf. And I started this for my husband, and I'm doing it on a paper and highlighting chart as I go. So I'm trying to work on this one for my husband. And this is where I am at. So again, I have 5 days and 5 hours for my 2 goals on this. It's definitely a lot slower going when you're not using Pattern Keeper and the old-fashioned highlight as you go. But I did find some really cute golf fabric to make my pattern, to make my project bag out of. The next one I didn't pull out, but I'll insert a picture. I'll have to go dig it out. It's been so long since I touched it, and that was Pandemic. This is the Pandemic from Long Dog Long Dog Samplers, is it? So that one is work 5 hours on it. I don't think I have touched it since I started it. And it was a little much for me back then, but I think now that it's been about a year, maybe it'll be a little bit easier going for me. Yeah, I am using this sulky thread on that one. My next one I have just says Flipflops. And this is actually something, a kit I just bought at Michael's. It was one of the first things I bought to get me back into cross stitching. And I did quite a bit on it, but then I got to the back stitching on it and it just kind of got put away. So I have 5 hours as my goal, and 5 hours could potentially finish this project. So it's just a little dimensions kit. Life is better in flip-flops. And this is where I'm at. So pretty close to a finish on it, maybe a little bit more than 5 hours. But I would like to get this done. I was making it for a friend who absolutely loves wearing flip-flops. So see if I can get that done. It's also one of the first project bags I've ever made, so it's a little bit tinier, the handle's a little bit thinner. I've learned a lot on making project bags since I've made this one. And that was just kit everything, kit fabric, kit floss. My next one is Complete Color for Forbidden Fiber. And I have that on my board twice as well. This is in a bag that my friend Sue and I both made. She did the embroidery, and then I made the bag, and we did this for our Stitching at the Farm in Troy, New Hampshire. We did one for her, my friend Sue. We did one for Pam. We did one for our friend Melissa, and I have one. And this is my Halloween box from Forbidden Fiber Co. And it says I have stitch one color because each color is a mystery. So I don't know what the colors are. I open them as I go, and I've managed to avoid all the spoilers. The only color I have right now open is color 1. Which is Pawn Scub by Forbidden Fiber. So I've got color 1 going. The pattern is in black and white so that you don't know as you're stitching it what all the different colors are. And because it's a full coverage that I'm trying to do one color at a time, I did grid it up. So here it is all gridded. I've got a slight start on color 1. So if it gets called, I'll need to finish color 1. And then if it gets called again, I need to finish color 2. There are 13 colors in here, so I do have a ways to go. But again, I'm kind of hoping that if I complete a color, I'll have the incentive to keep going and work on it a little bit more. I technically would like to have this project done by the end of the year because I'd like to get the next mystery box, but I don't want to get another one of these if I haven't finished this one. And then Halloween Quaker, I have this one on my board twice as well, and 5 hours and 5 days. I've kind of done 5 hours and then 5 days is my two kind of separate things when I've got something on the board twice. So Halloween Quaker by Leela's Studios. Now it says antique white because I started out with, I think, antique white, but again, I colored this one myself too. And this is where I'm at on this. So if it gets called for the 5 hours, I'll put 5 hours in on it. And if it gets called for the 5 days, I'll work on it for 5 days. Now, working on it for 5 days doesn't mean that's the only thing I will work on, but I will try to at least get a couple of hours in on it. I don't want to put one stitch in and call it good. I'll make it my focus piece for that day. And I have the whole month to put the 5 days in, so it's not like it has to be 5 days in a row. And again, if I happen to work on this for 5 days before it gets called, I won't count those 5 days towards my goal. And then I have Blackbird, which is the project I started on my wedding day. So I've had this going for over a year. And this is Ivy Wed by Blackbirds. And I am on the house, which I discovered as I was working on it that I did not have enough thread. But while I was at Pam's shop, I picked up some more. So hopefully, because it's like a year and a half later, there will be enough of a match. But if not, it'll survive. So this is where I am at on Ivy Wed. And it looks like I only have this one on my board once for 5 hours. The next one I have on my board says Patrick's Choice. So what will happen is if that gets called, my husband Patrick gets to pick whatever project I work on, and I will do 5 days on it. Then we get to number 13, which is our free space, and I'm going to leave that as a free space because the month it gets called, they end up calling 3, and I think doing 3 blocks in 1 month might get a little overwhelming because I do like to stitch on whatever the mood calls, so I don't want 3 separate things determining what I have to stitch on. Then I have Country Cottage, and I have that as 5 hours twice on my thing. So Country Cottage is the Country Cottage samplers where you have a different block every month. And I now have the whole year, except I think I've misplaced 1 month, which I have to look for. Not sure what I would have done with it because they don't go too far. I am not sure what month I've left off on. June. So I think July is where I lost my steam on these. And this is where I am at in July. So if this gets called, I will start working on that. And the pictures are always so tiny, but here's July. I would like to eventually get the whole year done. I am all the way up to July, so I have put a lot of time into it. And again, hopefully working on it will give me the urge to keep on going. Then we're back to Bellatrix. Then the next one is 5 days on Pokemon. And that is a full coverage piece. I got it off Lord Libyan's site, and I'm doing this. Rachel Ray is doing a hashtag gotta catch 'em all Sal, and I started this with her. Here's what it's gonna look like when it's done, and I will insert a picture of what that looks like right now. I actually have it down in my sewing room. I need to make a project bag for it. So I wanted to get it away from where it could get dirty until the bag's made. The bag is all cut out and ready to go. However, I got a request to make some other stuff that I can't show or talk about just yet, but they took precedence over me making myself a project bag. So this is what it looks like now, and then I will have it as 5 days. I did actually have it on the board as to start it, but when I saw that Rachel Ray was starting it and doing a sal, I thought that would make it more fun to stitch along and start it on the same day she did. So that is where I am at. The next one is 5 hours on Quaker. And this is a pattern that is on the Silk app, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the maker of it, but it's Quaker's Pride, and here is the designer's name. And again, I got it right off the Silk app. Threads everywhere. All right. And this is where I am at on this. So I had a lot of fun doing this, and then again, you put it away and you just forget about it for a little while, which is really sad. So it'll be fun to pull this out and work on it for a little bit when it gets called. The next spot, it says decision wheel. So what I'm going to do is just do numbers 1 through 25 on the decision wheel, and then I'm going to spin it. And whatever number it lands on, I will do that number again. So if it lands on New Start, then I will New Start a project. If it lands on Hawk Run Hollow, I will probably slightly panic, but then I will add yet another block to my Hawk Run Hollows. Then I have Golf again, Halloween Quaker again, Country Cottage, New Start. And then my last block is the Cozy Cafe, and that was through the Frosted Pumpkin, and it was a mystery stitch along. And this was done on fabric from Fiber on a Whim, 14 count, and I think the color was mint. And this is now, I think it's done. It's either done or there's one more month left, but I've got quite a bit left to go. And as you can see, it's been crunched up in the bag for a while, but that's what happens when you don't touch a project. So this is where I am at right now. I started doing it in Pattern Keeper, and then I forgot that Pattern Keeper doesn't actually show back stitching and stuff. So there are gaps that I need to pull out the paper pattern and go back in and finish. Like lemonade is actually, I think, strawberry lemonade, and water, I think it says seltzer water. So I do need to go back in and finish those. And I was working over in this corner right now. I can't remember what this was supposed to be. So I do have put 5 hours into this so that it doesn't just sit in a corner I completely forgot about, because I did put a lot of time into it. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months done and 1 month started. And that is my entire 2022 WIPGO board. Hopefully this year I can make it through the whole year and not get sidetracked and forget about WIPGO. I'm really excited to get it started. I'm looking forward to the 27th when the first 2 numbers are called to see what I get to work on. And is there anyone else out there? Are you participating in WIPGO? Are you doing hard and fast rules, or are you adding some fun little things like decision wheel, New Start, let somebody else pick? Let me know below about your WIPGO boards. And until next time, happy crafting.